Me a little bio there, Joe.
Okay, yeah, I've been a cultivator for 30 years. I've been teaching classes on cultivation and herbal preparations for about 20 years. And I was a collective operator for 2 years. I've been a defendant for 5 years, and I've been an activist and a patient advocate for a good long while. I founded a group called the Human Solution. And we do court support, patient advocacy, and prison outreach and education.
That's really good, because I've already heard from another individual here that the human support point, in other words, that support in court is very essential for many of these people who go in there, defenseless, basically. Yep. Defenseless, without any type of support, even from the federal or public defenders that they get, because they're basically uninformed. So how do you juggle all these different things at this time? I mean, in other words,
that's how.
Okay.
I also operate a botanical garden and nursery, and I teach in different facilities in Southern California.
Mm-hmm. So, and this is for purposes of growing or cultivation?
I teach some cultivation classes. I teach, not just cannabis cultivation, but
horticulture.
Horticulture classes. And then I teach here at the MCC a class on standards, dosing, packaging, labeling, cannabis-based products.
So in this time, since you've had such a long, vast experience, have you seen that it has progressed better or worse for users and for providers?
Well, it's gone in both directions. More people are involved, and so there's more growers out there growing. So as somebody who needs medicine, even though there's not as many access points, from my perspective, there's more medicine out there. It's been a tough road. I think, there's more people behind bars. There's more people that have been raided, more people that have taken plea deals. So more lives been disrupted. So on that end of it, we've gone backwards. But the science has moved forward, and, there's enough doctors that are pushing forward. There's enough growers still pushing forward that I think ultimately we're closer to the end of prohibition than we were a few years ago.
Well, why don't you go ahead and explain the services that are available to people who find themselves in a technical situation that must appear in court, that they may be able to give you a call or somebody, or even start a group that might be able to use some of your techniques and to further your mission.
Well, we're a grassroots organization, and we have local chapters around the country. We actually are not a national organization. We have some members in Great Britain, Japan, Australia. Not a lot, but little by little, prohibition exists all around the world.
Yeah.
And so, we originated out here in Riverside County. Out of my case, I got arrested. I looked for help. Nobody knew anything. I said, oh, crap, I got to do something. So I started speaking at all the groups that were supposedly advocate groups. The way we do it is we have local groups, and it takes as little as 3 people to get a group started. And so we have 7 chapters in California right now, plus our main chapter. And if somebody gets in trouble, get a hold of one of us. We have brochures. We have a website, thehumansolution.org, and you contact us, and we'll reach out to you. And every single time, that's the one big difference that I've found in a lot of the big organizations. You call out to them, and you don't even get a call back most of the time. And when you do, it's from a lawyer who's on your list, and they say, "Well, come and retain me, and we'll talk."
Yeah,
we're a bunch of people that have experience. A bunch of defendants and previous defendants, people that have won cases, people that have lost cases, people that have done time. We have experience in all elements of this. We have a few lawyers that we can call upon. Unfortunately, the lawyer pool is not real big. Of people that we can count on that have some heart in the game, that'll work with clients. But there are some, and we're slowly building that that list. We have some new lawyers that have just passed the bar, and they want to get their feet wet, and they want to help. They got hard in the game, so we've got a couple of people like that. We have a large chapter in Michigan right now, and we're growing all over the place. And so with that, we're gaining experience. Laws vary from state to state, but the way that they work doesn't vary that much.
No.
Their
procedures.
Tactics, the DA's tactics all around, even though procedurally they might be a little different, they have the same basic playbook. Mm-hmm. And their playbook is simple. They come in and they accuse you of something. For the purpose of bail, you're presumed guilty. So bails get set high. That hobbles us. They come in and they seize your stuff. Asset forfeiture is a huge motivation for law enforcement. I can come into your house and I can take everything. I can break your legs. I can kill your dog, and I can burn your house down. And then admit guilt, get convicted, and they won't take my bank account. They won't take my car. They won't take my boat. They won't take any of my property. They'll convict me. They'll throw me in prison, and they'll probably fine me. But if I'm accused of growing some plants, they can just take it all and then let me fight my way out of it.
Yeah.
And so you think there's not a motivation there?
Oh, there is. It's been happening in Tennessee and Missouri too. There's an alleyway that goes up on the highways, and they're targeting all out-of-state vehicles.
Sure, and it's not just Tennessee and Missouri. It's all across
it
the
is
Midwest.
because
Texas is
they're encouraging a sharing of the revenue recovered. That's what they're doing, and that's a very bad motivation.
It is, and we have a chapter that's this close to Foreman in Tennessee and Mississippi as well. Not Missouri, but we got one going on in Mississippi that's real.
Well, that's the two major ones that are creating a lot of problems out in that region.
We have a member whose son is in state prison for 20 years currently for cannabis charges. 20 years in state prison. This is not federal. This is not mandatory minimums. This is just backwoods. This is the stuff that happens.
Yeah.
People don't realize that in every single court it's different. It doesn't matter what your state's laws are. From county to county, city to city, court to court, every judge is his own God in his room.
That's right.
And luckily we have appellate courts, but people sit in jail waiting for that to happen.
That's right.
And
is there something you can turn around and advise people who find themselves in a technical situation as to advice you can give them from what you've learned?
My advice to anybody is you don't have to take a deal right off the bat. You have until after your trial's already begun. If you decide you want to go that route, you can wait. You can play this out. Whatever's happened has happened. You've already been arrested. You've already been charged. You've already been granted or not granted bail. At this point forward, your choice is to fight or to take a deal. 95+% of all cases are found guilty. Most of those are plea deals. A very small percentage of cases ever go to trial. A large percentage of cases where the defendant is willing to go to trial, takes it all the way to the very end, cases are dismissed right at the last second because the DA decides at the end he doesn't have a case. So people are scared into taking deals, especially federal deals, which it's a whole other game with the feds because you don't have a case no matter what. But if you have a state case, they're going to charge you with all kinds of things. They're going to threaten you with all kinds of things. And at the end of the day, though, until you're sitting in front of that jury, nothing matters. They're gonna put bluffs on you. They're gonna threaten all kinds of charges. They can add or remove the charges at any minute for any reason. And at the end of the day, they know what they have or don't have. In many cases, end up people taking plea deals, and I hear about it, and I look at the evidence that they had and what their case was, and it's just like they would have dismissed it if you would have just hung on. So I recommend anybody. Take your time. Even if you have a public defender, it doesn't matter. You can put this thing off for a while. Public defenders get paid by the case, by the hour, every single day. They'll put cases off for a long time. They continue. You don't have to have a speedy trial. You have a right to one, but you don't have to have one. And sometimes it's in your best interest. Sometimes it's not. It's a dance. My first case, I went on 11 months. I went through 4 prosecutors. Finally, my case got dismissed. Okay, the judge found in the interest of justice, I was compliant with all California laws. Ordered an issue for my return of property. 5 weeks later, I got raided by another county. Okay, and I'm still fighting that case 4 years later after that.
Well,
So at the end of the day, I didn't buckle, I didn't take their deal, and I'm still currently out of custody.
yeah.
So
So, in other words, people that are in jurisdictions that are pretty harsh or have difficult interpretations upon, the medical cannabis, people should be more cautious, or that should be the practice that they should acquire and embrace.
should always be more cautious no matter what. I mean,
Okay.
at the end of the day, we put ourselves in harm's way believing that we have protections that we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your state's law is, I don't care if you live in Colorado or Washington. We have a chapter in Washington. You know why? Because people are getting thrown in jail in Washington. It's legal. No, it's not.
No.
It's not legal anywhere. Okay, so at the end of the day, I believed I was protected by the law, and I got arrested. And I couldn't believe it. And there's one other thing you can do, and this is something that I recommend to everybody at all times. Shut the hell up.
In other words, don't talk.
to cops, ever. I respectfully invoke my Fifth Amendment right. I want to talk to my lawyer. That's it. That's all you
That's
say.
a very good piece of advice.
Everything you say will be used against you. That's all. If not can, will be used against you. And so many of us are righteous. We believe we're following the law. And so we don't have anything to hide. So we tell you exactly what happened. And they'll take bits and snippets of what you said and fabricate something else. And they'll say, didn't you say this? And you'll say, but that's not, no, didn't you say this? So that's what will happen. So don't talk to cops, ever. Don't ever consent to a search. Don't ever consent to anything.
Just go ahead, though, as if it is done, then make sure
resist,
do contact your consul and let them know that you did follow according to your recommendations. That's very good, wise to
Just
follow.
seen too many times, it just goes backwards against us, and we believe we're right. Well, we are. But meanwhile, and the other thing I have to say is, if you get picked for jury duty, this is your one chance to make a difference in the world. You have a right as a juror to say not guilty, no matter what the law says, no matter what the judge tells you. You have a right without any fear of being punished. If a law is immoral or unjust, it's your right to say not guilty. So we walk away from jury duty every way we can, every chance we get, and people get convicted by the people that show up. And if you had a chance, if I had one person like me sitting on my jury, I would not have been convicted.
Yeah.
So
their part can be is that they need to participate.
You need to vote. You need to go to jury duty when you get the opportunity. Those are two things that everybody needs to do no matter what. You could do so much more, but at the very least, do those two things. Those are your civic duties.
Well, that's great, Joe. That's